The biggest Roblox game ever, Blox Fruits, was supposed to be untouchable. Honestly, even an alien invasion felt more likely than a downfall. For years, it rolled the charts, casually pulling 500k to 800k players on a random Tuesday. Now, it's barely in the top 10, with player counts dropping as low as 140k players. That's like Mr. Beast getting 5 million views instead of 100 million. Still huge, but nowhere near what we're used to. So how did Blox Fruits, a game we all thought would dominate forever, fall behind games like In-Game, which is literally just Squid Game that we've gotten hundreds of? In this video, I'm not just gonna list the obvious stuff like inconsistent updates, we're actually gonna dive deeper. And to understand what really happened, we have to go back to the early days of Blox Fruits. Back in 2019, when Blox Fruits first dropped, nobody, and I mean nobody, saw this coming. It was just a one-piece game trying to make it out the hood. The developers probably thought they'd be lucky to hit 1,000 concurrent players. Little did they know, they had accidentally created what would become the face of Roblox. Throughout 2020, Blox Fruits was consistently around 10k players. Decent numbers for sure, but nothing that would make an average Roblox player's jaw drop. Because these days, everyone's used to 5 million average players on steal at brain rot and won't even think of playing a game under 800k players because they think it's not good. Sigma mentality. The game had all the ingredients for a good game. Delve Fruits, One Piece locations, their brain, their repetitive progression system, but it wasn't quite there yet on Roblox's homepage. Players were starting to notice though, and word was spreading through the Roblox community like wildfire. Then 2021 happened. Almost everyone was at home because of COVID. I know some of y'all from the Delta generation don't know, but most watching will. The player count absolutely exploded to around 100k concurrent players, and suddenly everyone was talking about this pirate game where you can become Luffy. Content creators started noticing, YouTubers began making videos, everyone was watching anime because they had so much time and wanted to be Luffy, and the snowball effect started rolling downhill. But if you thought 2021 was crazy, 2022 was when Blox Fruits decided to break every single rule in the book. 600k players, 600,000 people, all grinding Blox Piece. Yeah, I forgot to mention, it used to be named Blox Piece before. They grinded simultaneously, like their actual lives depended on M1ing that one bandit. I don't know why, but this was so tough back then. To put this in perspective, that's bigger than most AAA games on Steam during their launch weeks. We're talking about a Roblox game, a free Roblox game, pulling numbers that would make Fortnite developers pack up their desks and go home crying. The game wasn't just winning anymore, it was absolutely obliterating every single One Piece competition on the platform. And here's the crazy part, it stayed there. Throughout 2023 and most of 2024, Blox Fruits was literally untouchable. It was the undisputed king of Roblox. You could have bet your entire life savings on Blox Fruits being number 1 and slept peacefully every single night. The game was so dominant that it basically became synonymous with Roblox itself. When people thought Roblox, they literally thought Blox Fruits. When parents asked their kids what were they playing, the answer was Blox Fruits. The kind of success story that schools would probably teach in 10 years. Then December 2024 happened, and everything changed. The Dragon Rework update dropped, along with this massive East and West Dragon thing, and the player count didn't just spike, it went absolutely nuclear. We're talking about 2 million concurrent players at peak hours. 2 million. That's more players than live in some entire states, all playing the same Roblox game at the same time. We've never seen that before. But here's where our story takes the darkest turn imaginable, because after that insane spike that broke every single record in history, the player count didn't just drop back to normal levels. It fell off a cliff, higher than my IQ when I discovered Roblox innovation rewards. And I'm not talking about a gradual decline over months. This was a nosedive that would make skydiving instructors nervous. Since the December update, want to know how many major updates we've gotten? Literally one single major update, the Gravity rework. That's it. In all this time, with millions of players begging for new content, we got $1 for a rework. It's like ordering 5-course meal and getting a single breadstick after waiting 3 hours. And now we're sitting here, brain melting, soul crashing games like Steal a Brain Rot are casually pulling 11 million players, and Grow a Garden is sitting nonchalantly at 20 million concurrent players, and everyone's glazing it and the owner. And let me be crystal clear here, I hate these games with every fiber of my being. I hate them more than pineapple on pizza, more than unskippable YouTube ads. But I cannot deny what's happening here, and neither can you. So what exactly went wrong? How did the king of Roblox lose its crown to games where you literally just watch carrots grow and AFK? First problem, the developers' 3 major updates, like they're writing the next Dragon Ball manga. Even Demon Slayer seasons come out faster than these guys release content updates, maybe once or twice a year, if you're incredibly lucky and the stars align perfectly. And here's the brutal, unforgiving truth that nobody wants to admit. Updates are literally the only thing that bring players back to Blox Fruits. When an update drops, the player count spikes higher than LeBron. But when there's nothing new on months for end, players get bored faster than a goldfish watching paint dry in slow motion. The attention span of the modern Roblox player is shorter than a TikTok video of 6 seconds, and these developers are trying to hold their attention with yearly content drops. But the real problem, and this is where it really gets ugly, runs so much deeper than just update frequency. Blox Fruits has evolved into an absolute undisputed king of bandit beating. And that's literally it. The entire game revolves around clicking on NPCs until they die, then moving to slightly stronger NPCs and clicking on them until they die too. Once you've invested hundreds or maybe thousands of hours grinding your way to max level, 2500, what exactly is left to do? You've essentially completed the world's most expensive and time-consuming simulator. The game is bare bones in the absolutely worst way possible. The PvP system, don't even get me started on this disaster. It's a complete and utter catastrophe that will make the Titanic look like a minor fender bender. Infinite combos, everywhere you look. Dragons running away faster than my motivation on Monday morning the second they take any damage. AoE, attacks that cover half the entire map. It's pure unfiltered chaos. Meanwhile, PvE has always been absolutely terrible. Always, from day one, it's the same brain-numbing, click on NPC until he dies gameplay that was literally outdated when Club Penguin was still relevant. There's no strategy, no skill, just mindless clicking until numbers go up. Literally. And you can throw some hockey in there and some dough fruit, I don't even know what you use. And here's the part that really grinds my gears. People who actually want to progress in the game literally cannot progress anymore because there's nothing new to progress toward. The level cap has not changed, the islands are the same, the bosses are identical, everything is exactly the same as it was months or years ago. So where do these progression hungry players go? Straight to games like Grow Garden and Steel Brain Rot, where at least something is happening on their screens. Now, people love to argue that these audiences don't overlap, that the sophisticated Blox Fruits players would never stoop low to play such mindless games like Grow Garden or Steel Brain Rot, but let's be brutally honest here for just a second. Blox Fruits was always a form of brain rot content because of its repetitive mindless grinding mechanics. The only real difference is that Blox Fruits brain rot has evolved, mutated and transformed into its absolute final form, like going from just an arm to a full exodia. When updates finally do crawl out of development hell after 6 to 12 months of radio silence, they're mid at best. Usually just a rework of one single Delphi that changes absolutely nothing about the core gameplay loop or addresses any of the fundamental problems. It's like ordering a gourmet pizza after waiting 3 hours and receiving a single pepperoni on a paper plate. Technically, it's what you order, but it's not exactly what you had in mind. It's not the full thing. Like, it's missing so many things. Here's my personal theory on what's really happening behind the scenes. And this might be controversial, but I think it's the truth. Developers probably don't even care about Blox Fruits anymore. They treat it like an infinite money printing machine that requires minimal maintenance and effort while they're focused on other things. And honestly, I don't even blame them. If I owned a game with 500k constant players and 50 billion visits, it's gonna be pay to win wherever you go. You're gonna have to pay 1 Robux to make every 10 steps. When you got millions of people willing to grind the exact same repetitive content for literally years without complaining, why would you bother changing anything? Why fix something that's not broken? The money keeps flowing in regardless of whether they update the game or not, because y'all will play anything at this point. And honestly, I'm not even that different. The game I've been playing the most recently is Creatures of Sonaria. That's low-key making me lose aura. The fact that games like Grow Garden and Steel Brain Rot can pull these absolutely insane player numbers is concrete proof that people will literally play anything, and I mean anything, if it gives them that dopamine hit. These games make Cookie Clicker look like Dark Souls in terms of complexity and depth. They are so simple that calling them games feels like an insult to actual games. But here's the thing that actually annoys me. The Blox Fruits developers have been promising big changes for literal years. Island reworks that will revolutionize the game, major content updates that will bring back the game-changing features, that will restore Blox Fruits to its former glory. Where are those updates? It's like waiting for your dad to come back from his trip to get milk. Okay, you're probably right. It's 2025, I should probably stop. And let's address the massive elephant in the room that everyone sees when nobody wants to talk about. The absolutely insane, soul-crushing grind to reach level 2500. It's so annoying, so completely unreasonable that hacking has basically become a requirement if you want to maintain any fraction of your mental health. The grind is so bad. The legitimate players look at hackers with jealousy instead of anger. When the core gameplay loop is so unfun and repetitive that cheating becomes the preferred way to play. People are asking themselves a question: why am I doing this in the first place if it's not even fun? The answer? They just stop playing. They move on to games where you can literally AFK and still feel like you're making meaningful progress. It makes perfect logical sense that an audience that was trained and more conditioned to do completely brainless grinding would eventually migrate to even more brainless games where the grinding happens automatically. At least with Grow Garden, you can walk away from your computer, go make a sandwich, take a shower, do your homework, and come back to find that your garden has grown and you've made progress. Compare it to Blox Fruits, where walking away from your computer for 5 minutes means you're getting jumped by a disgusting dough user that stinks. New players get jumped, grinding spots are empty, and I think I know why. It's because everyone's running a script in their private server. At this point, this is becoming normal now. Why would anyone want to join a community where they're guaranteed to be at the bottom of the food chain for months when they can just run scripts and get full max level in a day or less? But perhaps the most damaging factor of all is completely lack of innovation. While other games experiment with new mechanics and creative gameplay loops, actually I don't know which games I'm talking about because there isn't any, Blox Fruits has remained frozen in time like a fossil. The game once revolutionary Roblox is now being left left in the dust by games that barely qualify as games. Developers had everything, a massive player base, unlimited potential, and infinite resources, and they still do. They just gotta drop one single update. They could have maintained their throne as the king of Roblox. Instead, they all got lazy and they let their empire crumble while Grow a Garden and Steal a Brain Rot took the bag. So there you have it, the complete, unfiltered, brutally honest story of how Blox Fruits fell from grace. It didn't fall because of one specific mistake or one bad decision. It fell because it stopped evolving while its audience moved on to new experiences. Developers got too comfortable. The players got bored and frustrated. And now they're watching one of the biggest success stories in Roblox history fade into relevance while people literally watch virtual gardens grow for entertainment. The real tragedy here isn't that Blox Fruits is declining, it's that this entire disaster was completely preventable. All they had to do was actually care about their game and their community and release an update. They literally have so much resources from the game, they could hire 10 devs to do all the work and they don't even gotta do anything. Tell me in the comments what you think about this. Is this the end of an era, the downfall of Blox Fruits? And what do you think will happen to Blox Fruits when Realm C is finally releases? Also make sure to join my Discord, subscribe, like, all of that.